Hi, in this new lesson, we're going to see how we can adapt a shader from the Shader Toy website to use in Touch. So let's go to the website. So if you don't know it, it's a very cool resource with lots of shaders with the code exposed, and you can play with them. So let's search for radial blur, which is kind of a cool but classic and cool effect. And we'll do the simple, which code is easier to understand. So if you move the mouse around, you can see you get this zoom blur effect centered on the mouse position. So I'm going to copy and paste the code into Touch. Let's keep this one for reference. And I'm gonna replace this. So we get a bunch of errors. So yeah, the first one is the shader toy shaders are for GLSL 1.2, which use the global variable GLFracColor. I mean, this is just a warning, so we can leave it as is. Then it's complaining about a bunch of other variables it doesn't know about. So for now, let's just replace the mouse interactivity with a parameter. So I'm gonna comment this line and create a uniform vec2 called center. So you can see this error is gone. Then it's complaining about high resolution on line 11 and high channel 0 on line 20. So by the way, if you go back to the Shader Toy website and click on the shader inputs, then it explains like what are the uniforms that are used in the shader. So high resolution is the viewport resolution, and high channel are the input textures. So this is the input texture. So in our case, so GLFracColor is a built-in variable which is like the pixel coordinate. So for this one, it's gonna go from 0 to 256 in X and Y, but then it's divided by the resolution. So it's actually the same to just use the built-in vuv.st, which is provided by Touch and goes from 0 to 1 in X and Y in the texture. So we're gonna comment this line. So now we just have the high channel 0 error. And so we want to sample our first input, so I'm just gonna use the uniform provided by Touch. And now you can see we get compiled successfully and we get the expected result. So by default, undefined parameters, I think they have 0 value. So I'm gonna put center here and get rid of the other one. And now, so 0.5 and 0.5 is the center, and you can play with it. To make things more interesting, I'm gonna use color noise with a bit more detail and higher resolution. Also, you can see transparency on the edge. If you want to get rid, you can repeat the texture. So we're gonna plug the mouse coordinates. You can use a panel or just a mouse in chop. We want the normalized coordinate that goes from -1 to 1, and we're going to rescale this to go to 0 to 1. And now, as you can see, we get the desired effect. Now it's easy to add a few more controls. Without getting too much into detail, what's happening is that it's sampling the texture at various scales and adding the results together, and then dividing by the number of samples so the image doesn't get blown out. So here you can see this is how good the result is gonna look. And the blur width is the amount of the FX. So we can command this and add another uniform. So it's gonna be a float. And now I can, if I add the blur width here, so 0 is no blur, and if I increase this, you get more and more blur. And now if you put more samples, you're gonna get like a smoother result. Then you're free to play with the code to get a better understanding. And that's it for this one. Just a little addendum to this lesson. If you plan on using some code from ShaderTag, make sure to check the license and that you're allowed to. Thanks.